Hi, I'm PM Goes Viral, and I've always been a huge fan of Atrioc. I really like Marketing Monday, and I am a product manager, so I thought I might do a spinoff of my own. There is no day that starts with P, so let's call it, I don't know, Product Wednesday, because this is Wednesday or something. I can do an overview from a product manager's perspective, so let's give it a go. Before we begin, what exactly is a product manager? So a product manager is the member of the team who's in charge of bringing things into production or bringing things into development. They are the people who are in charge of doing research and understanding what would improve the product. If something changed in the app or the game you've been playing or using, probably a product manager was involved in bringing this thing from concept into the app. For example, a game that you've started playing recently now added a tutorial for a certain feature or added a new feature. Probably a product manager was involved in bringing this from concept into the app or the game. Today's subject is something that I find very fascinating and has been taking over the gaming industry in the past decade. I'm of course talking about dailies. You might know them as daily missions, daily rewards, daily tasks. We'll just call them dailies. So dailies are essentially missions that you can do them once a day. They give you a reward. This mission can be something that's just logging in or doing a specific thing or, completing a quest, and it's renewed every day and you get a reward for it. Now, you might ask where it all started. As for the history of dailies, it's really hard to track down exactly what was the first game that used this methodology of dailies. But from my research, Atrioc Call, which is a game that was launched in 1999, actually one of the first MMOs out there, they had the concept of repeatable missions. Repeatable missions were missions that you can do once every 24 hours. So imagine you go to the taskmaster, they give you a task, you complete it, you get a reward, and then a timer of 24 hours begins. Once the timer ends, you can do the mission again. It could be the same mission, it can be a variation of that mission, but Atrioc Call, which dates back to 1999, already had this concept. It wasn't called dailies back in the day, but it was pretty much the same. Now, since then, daily missions have been popularized and now they're everywhere. World of Warcraft, MapleStory, Overwatch, Candy Crush. Now, this begs the question, why is it so popular? Why is this concept so good? Before we can answer this question, we have to learn about something called retention. Retention is a term from the product world, and it describes the likelihood of someone, a user, a player, coming back over time. We measure it by percentage over time. And we can actually look at Spotify's retention over 2022 to 2021. Now, these numbers describe average percentage of users coming back to the platform month over month. The color describes the plan that they were using, and as you can see, the dual plan, when it comes to retention, is the most successful, meaning the likelihood of someone from the dual plan to retain over 12 months is almost 85%. Now, what does this have to do with dailies? Dailies are what we call a retention engine. It's a way to keep players coming back to the game every single day. They know that coming back every single day would yield them a great reward. So they go in, they get the reward, and as you can see from the amount of games that are using this strategy, it definitely works. Now, the reason dailies are so good at doing that is because they take almost no time. Doing a daily is usually way more efficient than doing anything else. Sometimes it's just you log in and you get the progress that you would have gotten if you would have played for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even an hour. You get that just for logging in. Sometimes you do a quest and you get gold or a currency that you could otherwise never get. So there's a lot of benefits for you as a player to do the dailies every single day. Another great thing about dailies is that it's very inclusive. So imagine you're a gamer who doesn't have that much time to play. You might think to yourself, well, I only have an hour to play now. I only have 40 minutes or whatever because I'm back from work. I have a wife, I have children, whatever. I don't have that much time to play. This could make you quit, but dailies, they give you the option to have very short sessions and still get progression over time. So it's very inclusive. Even people with very small amount of time can log in, do the dailies, and continue on with their life and still get progression. Another great thing about dailies is that a session might start with a daily, then move on to be something more than that. Like imagine you're saying, yeah, I only have 20 minutes, let's just do the dailies. But you log in and then you do one game and then you maybe want to do another one. And a session that would not have existed if it weren't for the dailies now turned into a full session. The dailies, it was the hook for you to start playing the game, but then you did a full session. And if it weren't for the dailies, you probably would have never logged in to begin with. Another great thing about dailies is that they keep the player updated with what's new in the game. Now imagine a game does, an event or something special, but the players do not log in. So they have no idea of, is that a good event? Is that something nice? They have no way of knowing because they never play the game. But if they keep coming back every single day, they log in to do the dailies and then they see, oh, there's a new event live now. Let's see, let's try. Maybe there's a new mode. They try it, they see a new skin they like, and then they go and they make a purchase. The last thing is that dailies help invoke the IKEA effect. So imagine you come back to the game every single day for a week and you reap the rewards for all the dailies. Now quitting the game is a lot harder for you as a gamer because you've already reached a certain level of progression that without the dailies you might have not had. All these things combined really improve the numbers for the games. They see a higher rate of usage, higher attention. I'm sure that they increase sales because players coming back to the game every single day, even if it's just to reap the benefits of doing the dailies, is something that's really improving their experience and they enjoy the game more and there's more stakes in it. Now, dailies are not the same for each gaming genre. The more casual the game, the easier the dailies are. Mobile games, it's usually just log in. Log in, get the reward, and that's it. Because mobile games are working on very small margins. They're okay with even giving, in Raid Shadow Legends, you can log in, after a week you get a legendary champion. Because it doesn't cost these companies anything, and the likelihood of you ever purchasing one of these champions is very, very low. But making a small purchase after you already have a legendary champion is something more likely if you have it. If you don't have anything in the game, then why bother making a purchase? In Overwatch, they might give you something like currency that you can later use in the store. They want you to have the small amount, so now you only have to buy a little more to buy something from the shop. But they won't give you a huge reward for logging in. So mobile games are on one end. In the middle, I think card games. Card games are very smart with how they do dailies. What they do is they require you to do a certain strategy. It's true to Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Marvel Snap. It's all the same. Their dailies require you to do a certain thing, like play a deck that plays higher cost cards, or play a deck that uses these types of creatures, or you play a deck that uses this specific strategy. By doing that, they help you explore the different dimensions of the game and you might fall in love with it. If it's become boring and you play the same deck every single day, you might get bored and stop playing. But if you keep exploring more strategies, you might say, hey, this is something that I never knew I liked, but now I created a deck to play around this daily and now I'm more interested in the game. MMOs have taken the opposite direction from the mobile games. In mobile games, dailies can take seconds. In MMOs, dailies can take hours. I'm going to look specifically into two games that I've been playing for a ton of hours. One is MapleStory and one is World of Warcraft. Now, World of Warcraft is probably the game that I have the most hours on. I probably have over 5,000 hours playing World of Warcraft. MapleStory maybe half of that, but they both have implemented dailies over time, and I remember the difference between each version of their dailies. World of Warcraft started with repeatable missions. Specifically, they had a place called Isle of Quel'Danas. I remember that they added this when Burning Crusade came out. You essentially go to an NPC, they give you some quest, you complete it and you get gold. And gold is very good in World of Warcraft because there's a ton of things you can do with it. You can buy equipment, you can buy cosmetics, you can do a ton of things with gold. So doing these dailies every single day is a lot of fun. It only took like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it was very chill and it was very fun. MapleStory started with the simplest version of login reward. You just log in, you had this notebook with stamps and you stamp it every single day. Something I forgot to mention, mobile games, they do something even smarter. They have this ongoing daily plan that every single day the reward improves. Like you log in every single day for 7 days, the 7th day you're gonna get something great. You log in the 30th day and you get something amazing. For these types of games, having you keep coming back for 30 days is great. There's so many mobile games out there. The competition is so fierce. you keep coming back to the same game for 30 days is something that's very beneficial to them. So MapleStory had something very similar. You log in every single day, there's usually an event or something, and the 30th day you get something crazy like this new character or a piece of gear that's very relevant to what's going on in the game. Some years later, MapleStory changed that, and they made it that not only you have to kill 300 monsters to get your daily rewards, instead of just logging in, you have to kill monsters in your level range, turning it from something that you get instantly to something that can take you 20 minutes. At the same time, in World of Warcraft, they added in the Lich King dailies for professions, meaning if you have like an alchemist character, you can create a certain stone, but only once per day. And this stone is obviously something very good, but it takes some time to do it. Then MapleStory had a Big Bang update, and then they made the whole game revolved around dailies, and I'll explain how. So they added a new continent called the Arcane River. And in Arcane River, there are different cities, and every city requires you to be a different level. So like the first city requires you to level 200, then the next one requires you to be 5 levels higher, and then the next one even 5 levels higher, and so on. Now, in every single city, you have this city's dailies. And every daily gives you these gems. And these gems improve your character by a ton. It's like now the whole progression of the game is revolved around you getting those stones, these gems. Now, at the beginning, you only need one and you get this improvement. You get like 100 strength for just having this one stone. To improve it to level 2, you need to collect now 5 more. And then the next time you want to improve it, it's like exponential. So next time you need 25 and then 125. So you need more and more and more stones, and that's only for one location. The other location gives you another stone that you need to improve it as well by doing dailies. So imagine you're level like 235, you have like these 7 locations you have to do the dailies for every single day to improve your stone of that location. That's already like almost an hour of dailies every single day for MapleStory. Cataclysm came to World of Warcraft, and they added, actually I think it's a good twist on dailies, they added what they call the Daily Heroic. So the Daily Heroic is the mechanism where you would find a team of players and you do a certain heroic together with them once a day. And it changed from day to day. And this was good for 2 reasons. One is that it was a great way for you as a solo player to find people to do raids with. I remember playing World of Warcraft on and off, and finding people to do raids with and heroics with is very difficult. So they added this feature called the Dungeon Finder. And this was a great way to introduce this feature to the public. So you just go ahead, you use it, you say, I'm a healer, and I want to do the Daily Heroic, and they group you with a tank and DPSs, and you can do it together with them. So even if you're a lone wolf, you can do raids. So I think this made the dailies longer, but it was actually, I think, a good way to implement this dailies over what this game needs and what it wanted players to do. Then MapleStory went over the top and they added what they call the Legion mechanism. So Legion is essentially a thing that says whenever you have a character that's high level enough, it gives a buff to your other characters. So if you like have a warrior that's level 200, it gives 80 strength to all of your team. Or if you have a ranger, it gives 80 agility and whatever. But to get this character to, higher levels, guess what? You have to do the dailies of the Arcane River with all of your characters. And this turned dailies from something that took like minutes to something that took hours. It can take anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours just to do all of your dailies with all of your characters in MapleStory. Now, a funny anecdote is that I have a friend who works for Intel, and he actually confessed that he would wake up every day on 5:30 a.m. to do an hour and a half of dailies on his characters. Just think for a second how insane that is. It means that for him to feel like his character progresses, he believes he has to do the dailies, and dailies take an hour and a half, but he doesn't have the time when they get back from work. So he wakes up early, 5:30, to do it before going to work. That is insane. Now, as for the future of dailies, I don't see them going anywhere. They're a great mechanism. They definitely do what they were designed to do, and they work. They just work. So there's no reason not to do them. And I actually see more and more games implementing it. Like GTA 6 Live, there's no reason for them not to do dailies, because games like this still benefit from people logging in every single day. The only game genre which I don't see ever implementing this are the single player games. The reason is that companies gain nothing from people logging in every single day to play single player games. Single player games, usually the only purchase you make is when you buy the game. Unlike online games where, there's a billion microtransactions for you to do, and logging in every single day increases your odds of buying them. Single player games, they don't get anything from you coming back to the game every single day. Let's take God of War, for example. After you purchase God of War, the only thing the developers actually can gain from you is you purchasing the next game in the series, or maybe, telling your friends how crazy it was and how great it was. But you relogging to that game every single day does not get that. They don't care if you finished God of War in a day or in 10 days. So there's no reason for them to extend the amount of time you play God of War. Also, I think it's kind of like a lore thing. Like, I don't see Atrioc telling Kratos, like, yeah, let's kill 15 monsters today for the heck of it. It just doesn't fit in the narrative. As for my opinion about dailies, as a product manager, I think they're great. They're a win-win situation for both the player and the company, because for you as the player, you get an easy reward, you get progression, and it's easy. For the companies, we've talked about it, it increases your attention, it's low effort, and it's great, it's wonderful. As a gamer, I despise dailies. And this is the reason I quit MapleStory. Because dailies put you in this weird situation where you have to make a decision. Do I want to do what I enjoy, or do I want to do what's the most efficient? And this is a hard decision to make, because no matter what you choose, you lose. If you choose to do whatever it is you want, it's always in the back of your head that, if I would have done dailies every single day, I could have been a higher level by now. If you do the dailies, you're like, so I'm just grinding and I'm doing things that I don't enjoy only to get progression. This is why, in my opinion, old school RuneScape is the king of MMOs. So old school RuneScape pretty much have only improved in the past 14 years since it come out. They do the same concepts, they keep adding content, and they keep the game the way it originally was. There are no dailies in old school RuneScape. Yes, you have some things that are repeatable over time, but when you log into RuneScape, you actually only do whatever it is you want. You log in and you can pickpocket guards, you can go fishing for 2 hours, you can do a dungeon for 5 minutes. Everything is so flexible. You just log in and you do whatever you want. I don't like these constraints that games put on your experience. They tell you what you should do, and that's what dailies do. They shape the way that you play. They shape the way that you choose to manage your experience. And that's something I personally don't like. Right, so that was Product Wednesday. Tell me what you think. Was it boring? Was it nice? Leave a comment if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.